Hello, Aquarius. This is Lori from Three Keys Astrology, and I am giving you, like all other signs, the monthly forecast for April 2025. In this forecast, we're going to talk about Sabian symbols. And this wonderful astrologer, who is also a psychologist and psychology teacher at Yale University, wrote several interesting books on astrology. And he also wrote a book about the Sabian symbols. You never heard of them? Well, let me tell you. They describe universals, which are themes of one's lifetime. And these are akin to the mythological characters and creatures that give us this identity, these core traits and behaviors by these characters of mythology, for which every single book and every single movie you've ever seen are written on. And so these universals and Sabian symbols are a theme or sort of a monogram, the same way that a birth chart is akin to a fingerprint. There are no two the same, not even twins. I've read for over 10,000 people worldwide, and I'm also an astrology teacher. And it's fascinating. It's such an interesting job because it's never the same. And I like that. And as Aquarians, you like that too. Now, a monumental thing happened to you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I encourage you, if you're new to the channel, to go back to, and I will link these videos at the end of this one, to May 2023, when for the first time in 243 years, Pluto is back in Aquarius. In May 2023, we got a little glimpse of what our future would look like. Then Pluto regressed and finished its tour in Capricorn. And I just asked Capricorns, I just finished their video for April 2025, to please, because they've been heralded the wisdom of what it's like to experience Pluto in Capricorn. Now, everybody has, because a part of 1/12 of the wholeness of our personalities are Capricorn. So we've all experienced it somewhere. And I've asked them to please comment below. So go read those comments, listen to that video, and see what kind of wisdom they have to impart about what their experience was like. Why this is so important for you, Aquarians, especially Aquarius rising, is because Pluto is now on you. Your rising sign is one of your three keys. The other two are your sun and your moon. But there are 12 parts that involve the 12 planets. The two luminaries, the sun and the moon, and the rest of the planets. Pluto infers drastic, insurmountable change, things that are fated that we have no control over. And these changes come in a crisis, with some kind of death or an ending of life the way we know it. Now, this is important, and this is really the story and the truth of life, because change begets change begets change, and we're not supposed to be stagnant or constant. The difficulty having Pluto here is I'm a double Taurus. The other three signs that are gravely affected by these changes are your nemesis or your partner or your shadow side Leo, and then Taurus and Scorpio. Now, we four signs are stubborn in our nature, and we really don't love change as much as some of the other signs do. And it takes us a while to acclimate to change. And because Pluto involves the ending or death or some kind of destruction, and it's hard to cope with. I don't know anyone that enjoys those kinds of endings. And so this is a monthly forecast, but I care. And like I said, I've read for a lot of people. Get over to my website, www.threekeysastrology.com, and order yourself a here and now reading. And let's discuss how this is going to affect you. The effect of it on your sun, moon, or rising sign has about a 2.5 or 3 year period where you're going to be going through major changes. And this will affect your whole life because Aquarius rising, especially, it's the cross. The cross of the matter is that you're here. The way you navigate in life, and your oppositional nature is Leo. So that's others and people you're involved with, your partnerships and marriages. And then the vertical cross is your public status or one of your parents. And the other is your home life. And that is, again, the other of your parents. So this can infer endings going on there, and it's not been easy. Now, back to the Sabian symbols. There are themes like Joseph Campbell's books talking about the hero's journey. Our mythological characters like Pegasus or Hercules. People play those roles in life. The roles of mother and father are indeed learned. And so these universals are archetypes that are internationally recognized, and every human being on the planet adapts or evolves or devolves some way, somehow in these primary roles. Like I was saying, it's a bit of a monogram or your own personal tattoo. And so today I chose 3 Aquarius because Pluto is at 3 degrees of Aquarius. And if you put, I've offered this to all of you listening to these April monthly videos, put in the comment below on YouTube the degree of your sun, the degree of your moon, or the degree of your rising sign, Aquarius, and I will take the time to go into the comments and tell you what your Sabian symbol is. And then I would like your response telling me, yeah, Lori, that seems to be a theme or a thread common throughout my life, no matter how old you are. And so for 3 Aquarius, the Sabian symbol is a deserter from the Navy. And the key word to this is defiance. The theme is endings are beginnings. And we're going to talk about this because this month in April, we have a full moon in Libra between the 12th and 13th, depending on where you live in the world. And we have a new moon in Taurus on the 28th or 29th of the month, depending on where you live in the world. And so this symbol of 3 degrees Aquarius, and this will be something inherent in your nature, should you have your sun, moon, or rising sign here, speaks to rebellion or a refusal to cooperate any further in some situation or relationship, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the consequences. The image of a deserter from the Navy is one of a negative or reverse symbol and alludes to the repudiation of a commitment, a desire to break free from a relationship of perceived bondage. The emphasis in this symbol is on responsibility, faithfulness, and the need to make the best of situations or capitalize on the challenges they present. On a practical level, the symbol can indicate escape or running away from problems. The interference here is that the way of the relationship is ended can create more problems than it solves. On the positive, at its highest, the symbol represents a refusal to make promises and commitments against a better judgment and the courage to end all unprofitable relationships and do it responsibly and do it with dignity. So on the negative, if you stay, it infers cowardice or an incorrigibility where bitterness breeds, and then the relationship will have some kind of demise anyway. So the accent is on rebellion, and it's on freedoms. 2 things that are key and core themes in a person's life that is highly Aquarian. If you didn't know this, because I'm an astrology teacher, those of you who have a lot of planets in the 11th house, though you may not be Aquarius, are Aquarian by essential dignity. My Taurus sun and moon happens to be in the 11th house. And yeah, freedom means a ton to me. I don't like to be held down. I don't like to be closed in. I'm claustrophobic. I need air and space and breadth and depth and in my whole life. And so you can totally relate to that, Aquarius. So your greatest advantage lies in reevaluating commitments that have proven to be detrimental to your physical or your psychological well-being. Well, I can tell you right now that Aquarius rising are really going through it because of where Leo's power and positions are. And there's going to a peak. So if you're living in a catastrophic relationship, if there has been harm done, psychological, emotionally, or physically, I'm telling you, Aquarius, Pluto's coming in to plow that out of your life once and for all, somehow, some way. Again, your greatest advantage lies in reevaluating commitments that have proven to be detrimental to your physical or psychological well-being. Find responsible ways to end destructive relationships with full cooperation. Now, the risk is to guard against the temptation to quit abruptly or abandon your responsibilities when things don't go the way you like. So they're asking you not to be fickle. But, Aquarius is not a sign I find fickle. So this is gauging abuse in a relationship or disrespect. And then having the faith, the wherewithal, the plans, and the backup to make a change once and for all. And I am here. There are a lot of people. I have a private Facebook group that's filled with professionals like psychotherapists, nurses, doctors, people who've spent their lives to try to make your life better. And nobody should live with other people that are harmful and that are destructive. So Pluto coming into your first house infers that there's a major change that's going to take place. And because it's in the opposition to Leo, I have to tell you that the mid-month, it's almost as though the energy for the month of April is two different people. Because the very beginning of the month, the focus and accent is somewhere else. Now, God is giving you lots of gifts, so don't be scared. And there are lots of tools for we that have had to make changes. And many of us have gone through major life changes and survived them. You're looking at a person that has. There are many women in my group that have survived cancer and are living and healing and breathing and carrying on. So I do want you to know that this month, I'll tell you that there's some really wonderful days. And the first one is Easter Sunday. That's on the 20th. That is a wonderful day for all of us. It's a celebration. It's the commencement of new beginnings because Jesus died for our sins so that we could have eternal life. It'll be really good for you, Aquarius, because of your fixed nature and because this Pluto influence and a force that's unstoppable, and it's things like death that we can't control. And keep in mind, most of you that watch these videos are of a higher acumen anyway. You wouldn't be interested in such abstract talk. But do know there's a born-on date to every single life, and there's an expiration date to every single life. And we are not God. We don't get to choose when that happens and how it happens. The best choices we can make are in that cross we bear with whom we surround ourselves. And so we need to be intelligent and discerning and pick people that are of high quality, that have the best, want the best for us, that care the most about us, that will not harm us. And that's your cross to bear, Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising sign. And so with Pluto coming in here, there are a couple other characters I want you to be aware of, and this is why it's detrimental that you have backup plans and have extra help and have a support system in place and do nest away finances or whatever it is that you need in this preparation. The reason being is because Black Moon Lilith, so Pluto is the he devil, Black Moon Lilith is a she devil, and she's moving into an area, she moved into Scorpio. And that's two energies on your cross. So that's your rising sign, Aquarius rising in particular, and then Black Moon Lilith is Scorpio at the top of your chart. Well, what is that? That's some kind of an authority over you or a public position or a place where you're serving, or indeed if you're in politics, because Pluto rules politics. And the top of the chart is a place of public recognition. And with Black Moon Lilith there's a detractor there. There's someone trying to steal your thunder or in the way of what your soul service is to community. And that lasts for a year. Now, I told you, Pluto, the experience you'll have with Pluto will be a 2.5 or 3 year involvement. And because this is bouncing on the very cross, you can think of Jesus being crucified somehow, some way in your life, when those 4 points that are the hairs of the microscope of your life, the imprint of the picture of the heavens, you also have opposing you Mars moving into Leo on the 20th. So I'm not going to go into May If you come and get a personal reading from me, and you can get as many as you want to, we can meet once a month or every couple of weeks, or go to my website. I get an email of notification of your payment, and then we make arrangements to get together. But get your backup posse. Get those people that you know are ride or die. Have a stash. Have some kind of security, because this is serious. And it's a major life change for you, Aquarians, no matter where your stars are. But especially rising, this is affecting your partner. And this could indeed be an ending in the relationship, but there's high conflict there, because come the 19th, Mars is moving in to Leo. Can you resolve it? Yeah. But this is kind of serious stuff that needs some outside professional expertise and input. And so hire those people and do work on it. And again, prevention, prediction is prevention. Knowing this, you know that there's a cross that you're bearing, and it's rather heavy this April, mid-April, until it lasts. And depending on the degrees, if you put your degrees in the comments below on YouTube, what degree is your sun, what degree is your moon, what degree is your rising sign, I will offer up the Sabian symbol. But I'd like to hear back from you about whether or not you recognize this pattern. So back to our cross that you have. You've got Pluto on you right now. You're going to go through a major change, and things that are unhealthy for you and not meant for you, you'll be better off for it after all, but you won't see it right now. It's going to be intense. It's going to be hard, and could be the hardest time of your life. That bounces over to Mars being in Leo once the 19th of April happens. At the crosshairs, the vertical, you've got Black Moon Lilith on the top. And in Taurus right now, at the end of the month, we've got in 24 and 25 degrees for the month of April, Uranus. So this is a lot for especially Aquarius rising. The heavenly grace that comes to you is for the whole world on the month of April. Our very difficult days for everybody are the 3rd, the 13th, and the 18th. That's true for everyone. If you're born on those days, that's an imprint for your year. There's some things you need to work out. And as your astrologer, I'll help you overcome obstacles or something that's in your path. Also difficult are the 14th and 15th for you personally, Aquarians. But you have a really nice day on the 21st. You have a really nice day on the 20th. And on the 28th, we have a new moon in Taurus. Now this sign squares you, but you can turn it to your benefit. I teach my students that squares in the chart can be like a boxing ring. And so at this moment in time, Aquarius, I always sit on my foot. It always hurts me. And there I go again, because my chair isn't high enough, but I better get one, right? What am I doing? All right. And I've been in this chair for 2 days. And my back hurts, and my pelvis hurts, and my neck hurts, and I'm just ready for the junkyard as I approach my 63rd birthday. But anyway, back to this new moon in Taurus. So the squares are challenges and conflicts. I personally like people who have squares because there's an energetic and a dynamic energy to that person. They're bouncing against obstacles. They're running up against challenges. They're having conflicts. And God gave you that birth chart because you're meant to learn to overcome, to cooperate, to collaborate. And I teach my students a square, which is a boxing ring. So Aquarius, your opponent's Leo. You're not getting along with Taurus, and you're not getting along with Scorpio. That is my primary family, by the way. So, we had to learn lessons in how to get along. Now, the treasure in this is that it can be a stepping stone. And isn't that nice? When you learn cooperation and you learn new ways of communication and relating styles, that square can become a stepping stone to help you overcome. Oh, I did that before. I remember when I blabbed my mouth and I shouldn't have, or this is the way I should handle this friend, or this is the way I should treat this child, or this is the way I should treat my mom. So that's the beauty of it. The beauty is that Taurus is Venus ruled. And this is happening in your home and family. And for the entire month of April, we have Venus in the sweetest sign ever in Pisces. So she's ruling your fourth house, but she's actually tenanted in your second house. And that's the house of money. That's materialism. That's love. And that bounces over to your eighth house, which is a house of Virgo. And that means that some other earth sign can be a benefactor to you, and likely in a Virgo way. Some kind of Mother Mary figure to you, some kind of person that you look up to that's pure and honest and true, that's going to help you with your financial situation. Your finances will improve in April. And that energy is in a sextile to the full moon or the new moon in Taurus. What does that mean? A new moon could mean a new home for you. And if you're in a contentious relationship, and you are, Aquarius rising for sure, and other Aquarians probably so too with Pluto involved, if your sun or moon are in the first, seventh, 10th, or 4th house, you're in this dilemma that I'm speaking about most directly to Aquarius rising. So what does a new moon mean? It means a new, brand new beginning. Now that day overall is a little bit contentious, except for the nice new moon energy, which are the sun and the moon making love in the dark. And that means the creation of something new. And like I said, indeed, it could be a new home for you, Aquarius rising. Or if you have an established relationship, if you and your partner have worked things out, this could be an energetic boost for your partner. But there's a lot of conflicting things, so I highly doubt that. But let's just say you're mature and you've overcome things and you've learned how to communicate. You're ride or die partners, and you know that life inevitably, blah, 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 inevitably throws curveballs at us. And so you as this team for however many years will handle the crisis no matter what it is. It could just mean that you're purchasing a new home. But with Pluto and Black Moon Lilith and Mars, and you see when we get to the 19th, we, the whole wide world, have this third now Mars-Pluto opposition that started last November. We've had a couple triggers in it. Now in the wide world, that's dangerous and that's deadly. And that is war, and that is bombing, and that's the life lost. That's volcanic eruptions. That's wildfires on our planet. So you have to be really, really mindful. Listen to this video. Don't be afraid. Unfortunately, we all experience death and grief. It kills me that I've lost my mom. That was 1994. I wasn't old enough to lose her. And I don't cope with that. Well, I still dream about her, still miss her, still look forward to the day when I can see her again. So, but having friends that have experienced it, or having loved ones and then new family members, I got to have grandchildren, and one of them most especially reminds me and says a lot of things my mom used to say, which is to me little heaven sent messages about our relationship. So this new moon that's coming for you on the 28th, I've told all signs, a new moon, the sky is dark, and the sun and moon are making love, making a new beginning, a new creation. And because this is happening in your fourth house, if at all possible, keep yourself with your family. Close the doors to the outside world. If whatever's going on, go to the baseball games if the children are playing sports. Do whatever you have to do, but keep that April 28th date private and secure and personal. And you should fare well because its ruler is blessing you. And like I said, to have Venus in your second house for the entire month of April means that you'll be okay financially, and that there's a benefactor involved, and that you can totally have a nest egg, and that you will have support. Now, I will caution you that there's another area of your life for April that I'm concerned about. This more refers to the first part of April, but a couple of little characters are rascals that are going to be there for a while. And the first one is that the sun is shining on your third house. So that means a lot of communications happening and a lot of business, because that rules small business and our daily business and affairs and running around and having to do things. So delegate where you can, because it's a rather crowded part of life. Now, the ruler of that house is not in a nice position, so those conversations can be heated and the communications can be caustic and they can be antagonistic. So realize that, come up with a way to have a timeout when those things get hot or too much for you. There's a ton of energy. That also includes your brothers and your sisters. So there could be contention there too, especially if one of your brothers or sisters are any of the opposite signs or squaring signs, such as Leo to you, Aquarius, or Taurus or Scorpio to you, Aquarius. The goddess of chaos is there in your third house of communications with your siblings. So something's stirred up, there's an unrest there, some kind of disturbance going on. And the sun is there, shining a light on this situation that needs to be handled. But the other thing is that Neptune has arrived. And Neptune is nebulous, and we can't always see clearly. Neptune rules the waters of the world and does not like to be in Aries. That's a hot sign. That's a fire sign. Neptune wants to be in water. So there's something about these communications that are nefarious and unclear and maybe a little too fantastical to be the truth. But Neptune's going to stay there a while, so this will be an energy you've got to deal with for quite some time. And that may mean Aries people in your life that have their head in the clouds, or Neptune can even mean in communication arenas as a dementia or a mental illness of a brother or a sister, sadly. And that is, they're not mentally clear. There's a fog going over. Oftentimes in dementia patients, their body is still earthbound, but their mind's already gone on to their next mission. And you'll hear them slipping into these dream states of thinking they're with their parents and they may be quite elderly. Or in my father's case, at the end of his life, my stepmother called him and he said, "I can't talk to you now. I'm with Aunt Teresa." Well, Aunt Teresa died years and years ago, but she was indeed his godmother, and he was getting ready to pass. And many of you have stories like these. So Aquarius, there's something about the communication with a brother or a sister or an Aries personality that is a little bit fogged, a little bit unclear, not so mentally sound, something isn't right, and it's liable to turn very quickly into fire and conflict. And especially with all these other, it's actually at an in conjunction to where Mars is in Leo. So this goes on for quite a while. And what does that mean for you? That's your learning lesson to come up with these things. Like, well, I can see that we're not going to agree right now. So why don't you think about it and I'll think about it and we'll talk about this next week. Or in your maturity, and I'll help you if you come and get a reading. We can talk about that. I think that is all I want to say. There's a full moon in Libra happening on the 12th or 13th. That's happening at 23 degrees of Libra. This is happening in your 9th house. What does that mean? For you, especially Aquarius rising, is there's a culmination and ending of some Libra thing going on in your life. That could be that you were traveling for business and that's coming to an end. It can mean an internship is ending for you. It can mean a scholarship you've met its capacity and spent its gifts and treasures. And it can mean a course is coming to a completion. And it can mean you're finishing up a degree, master's or higher, Libra. So there's some kind of ending at 23 degrees Libra in your chart. But that means that there's a new beginning that'll come. And that new beginning is happening in your house and home. So if you're not purchasing a new home, if you don't plan on moving, for a lot of people that have been ravaged by these natural disasters or in these war-torn countries, homelessness and new homes are a very big thing right now. And Mars in Cancer infers fire in the home. And look at all the loss we've had in the cities that are currently burning. The Carolinas, LA, they're happening in a lot of countries. And we saw this again. We saw this a lot in 2018. So we have to keep our eye on Mars. With Neptune and Aries, the land will be hotter and drier. That's not where he belongs. While the reverse, because we've got so much fire and so much water on the earth, those of us that were pounded by snow, and I live in the northeastern part of the United States of America, out west and in the Midwest, they were pummeled too. We're experiencing the flooding left over. But because we have so many planets in Aries right now, it's going to dry up. We'll experience the flooding. We'll have to put up with and clean up the messes. But I think things are going to get a lot hotter. And I want to remind you again to put your degrees of your sun, moon, or rising below. So you get your Sabian symbol and you'll be able to say, hey, Lori, yeah, I mean, this did seem like a theme for me. The one that I read today. Are you in a relationship that's destructive or disrespectful and you're frustrated to all heck and you really want a fresh start and a new beginning? Well, Pluto's going to come in because remember, Pluto's goal, Pluto, the ruler of the underworld, he's punishing sinners. So whatever needs purifying in your life, it's burning off the dross of all those things that are wrong, sinning, abuse, emotional kidnapping, anything that's tormenting you, because that's one of the tricks of hell. And you're not supposed to be living hell on earth. And there's a reason we have a cross to bear, and there's a reason that we're in these dimensions of light and darkness, and we meet these creatures in our lives that are dark or light, because your goal is to go back. You should not be in hell on earth. It is your God-given birthright to live well, to live respected, to live peacefully, and to be in harmony with others. And that's really what our April is about in a nutshell. So thank you so much for listening. Take care. I care about you guys. And thank you for all your sweet comments and your well wishes for my health crises, because I've had more than one girl deserves. But I'm on the mend, and I'm so happy to serve this way. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a very happy Easter. The day is grand. It may be the best day of the month. And that's a good way, too, for all of us to get back to light and get back to our priorities and our values and be valued and have worth in this world. And that's to keep our alignment and our eyes on the heavens, where hopefully we return home to. Bye for now.